Hello, welcome to True Crime with KT. If you like what you see and hear today, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below and share. I appreciate you. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Leticia Stauch. She's the stepmother who is accused of murdering her stepson, Gannon Stauch, who was 11 years old. Apparently, according to Leticia, Gannon had knocked over a candle and caught the carpet on fire the day before he came up missing. A very lengthy affidavit came out this week that we've got our hands on, and I'm not going to cover everything on that, but there were several things that I read that stuck out to me. I'm going to mention a few of them, and I may come back at a later date and cover some more. But it seems that Leticia has used several names over the years, and she's been arrested. She has a criminal record for things such as threats and unauthorized use of a vehicle. So she has a history, and that's an interesting thing and an important thing to note, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But in the affidavit, there were a lot of things mentioned, such as lies that she had told the detectives. Multiple times she had different stories. She had engaged in odd behavior, such as renting a car, and she made a report of a sexual assault of her and Gannon. She had some abnormal travel patterns, and then, of course, she left the state. She went to South Carolina, and that's when they arrested her. According to the affidavit, Gannon was murdered on January the 27th, from what they estimate around 2 p.m. in his bedroom. And according to the affidavit, it was a violent event, and there were blood spatters on the wall, a large amount of blood on his mattress, on his carpet pad, and even drenched into the concrete below that, beneath his bed. It also said that his remains were brought through the house to the garage and loaded into her vehicle. Interestingly, it also said that Harley Hunt, her daughter, has refused, or had at some point refused, to speak to investigators. And I think that's extremely interesting. I'm wondering if she was afraid of her mother, or if she was just being loyal and didn't want to see her mother in trouble. But I think it speaks volumes in that she must know something, and I believe she's on that witness list. But what I'm noticing about Leticia is she has some behaviors here that's definitely sort of narcissistic, maybe even antisocial personality disorder. She seems to actually expect people to believe her lies. I mean, when she was given that interview to the reporter, which I will include at the end of this video, she's just blatantly lying. It appears to be the case. And she seems to think that she's smart. I think she actually thought she could elude the police and the FBI. But if you listen to her grammar, she doesn't sound intelligent when she talks. She made grammatical errors such as saying, "I done this," or "I seen that car." And that doesn't speak to me as someone who would be a teacher or to be highly educated. So I'm really curious about all of that, about her education. And according to the affidavit, she was really violent. Blood spatters on the wall. I mean, that's someone. That's violence there. And I don't think that kind of violence just pops up in your life. It could, but I'm really questioning what kind of psychiatric diagnosis she might have. And no, I'm not trying to say she can get off because she's mentally incapacitated. That's not what I'm saying. I just think there's probably some kind of psychological issues have gone on with her, some mental illness of some sort. But she could still stand trial because she knows the difference between right and wrong. Obviously, she's been around in the justice system. I'm wondering about her childhood, like what happened. Did she have conduct disorder, which is kind of the thing the disorder that children have before they become an adult and become sociopaths or psychopaths or diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. And maybe she was even diagnosed or could have been diagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder. I would really like to know what has gone on in Leticia's life, when she was younger, what her history is when she was a child, so that maybe we could figure out what would possess a stepmother to so violently kill a child that way. I'm going to attach some of the video of Leticia talking with that news reporter. And please give me your thoughts and comments down below. I appreciate those. And if you have any other cases that you would like for me to cover, just let me know. Thank you.
You are?
I am Leticia Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20-some death threats already. Two, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home, and of course I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, and in doing the investigation I was told I wasn't complying. And could I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, said I still wasn't complying, or said I was, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time, correct.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for an attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was two really good detectives, and so I'm not, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to, they're detectives, they're supposed to twist. The one main goal is to find Gannon. But during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying things. So I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears to what has become a huge online presence of people obviously trying to do the right thing, help find Gannon. But at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye, because I didn't want to expose my family to it if all these things were going on. There was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. that's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know, but I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun, and my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse so they could take her car.
And they weren't in there?
They weren't even in her car. I mean, in her purse.
And
they were in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was the law enforcement officers?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got the, like, who's this guy? And then once I realized it was the sheriff's office, I was totally okay, but they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter, asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that, when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That shouldn't happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping, because we couldn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. If we came here and got clothes, you know, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that and was put in the handcuffs in the store, you know, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay. You know, they could have approached me and said, hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this? Instead of the way that it happened.
I'm just going to check your shot. Doing great. I want to make sure that we're still good on recording, still can hear you okay. Okay, yeah, sounds like we're good. Every once in a while my mic will give out, and I want to make sure that's not going to happen here. Okay. I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the search.
Oh yes, wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have, my family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. We've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we can protect each other.
How does it feel when not only you have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child not being there?
You know, I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. And I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon. And I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind, and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario, and you know, he's always helpful, and he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs, and he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. You know, sometimes with kids we have to remind them and things like that, and that's okay, but he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? And such a kind heart.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this, but is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, you know, she came home from work after the hike and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. And if she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed to ask her. Sound okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley. Because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
Do you want me to just say yes?
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah. I told her she didn't have to be too in-depth because she is still, you know, a child, but I want to make sure that someone knows that there's another person to verify that Gannon.
Sure.
Does she need to hold this?
No.
Yes, so I came home later that evening. I was at work and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Garden of the Gods. Okay. I guess when.
And then we ate Burger King afterwards, so, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then it just was, I'm gonna go to play at a friend's house. And then it was just